Hi, in this video we will start to do some simple, very simple modeling. We will try at the end to create something like this simple drawer. Um, First, before doing the exercise, I will introduce you to some basic tools on how to manipulate the sub-object levels of an object. As we saw before, a 3D object is made of polygons, and each polygon is made of segments, and uh, each segment is made of two vertices. So we'll learn the basic tools to manipulate those elements. Uh, After that, we will do the exercise. First, let's work in real world units. In objects like this, which is not too small and not very big, I prefer, when I create, let's say, a box, to have the dimensions in centimeters. Now at this moment it is generic. There is no, you don't see here like the word centimeter. So let's work in real world units. I'll delete the box, I'll W to maximize, and go to customize, units setup. Personally, I use metric, but you can use different units. And here in metric, I want my display unit here to be in centimeter. It's a personal preference. You can choose meter, but in our case, I prefer centimeter. Also, but I will not explain exactly what this does. Press the system unit setup and make it centimeter like this one. Make those two matches. I will explain later, maybe in a video, the importance of this. But for now, just follow this instruction. Just make them the same. Press OK. And now I'll go to create geometry box, click and drag. As you can see, now I have this centimeter here. Also, before we start manipulating the object, a very important tip, and sometimes I see some experienced users, they don't follow this tip, which is try always to work very close to the origin. Don't just, when you open Max, just don't go like and start working here like hundred of thousands of units away or something like that, because that can create also all sorts of problems, basically accuracy problems, when it comes to alignment, when it comes to rendering calculations, many many types of problems. So try always to be very close to the origin, because Max hates objects very far from the origins. Maybe if you are coming from a software like AutoCAD, there is no problem. But here, yes, you should respect this rule. And also, if you are importing from AutoCAD, try to move your objects in AutoCAD very close to the origin and then import. Now, let's start playing around with the box. I will select the box. At this moment, like we said before, Now this object is a parametric object because we can only manipulate it through some parameters here related to the length, the width, the height, also the subdivisions, like the amount of height segments. You don't see it now because I didn't press F4. If I press F4, then you can see the wireframe version in addition to the shaded version. So I will select it again. Those subdivisions. Now I'll set them all to 1. I will end up with only 6 polygons. Now, if I want to manipulate the sub-object levels, I need to change the type of the object from parametric to something else. I will convert this object to right-click and choose Convert to Editable Poly. And as you can see here, everything changes. Different type of object. It's an editable poly. Well, basically that means it's an object made of polygons that we can edit. You can click the arrow here. You can see the sub-object levels. You can see them here. They are the same. If you click one, that's the same as if you click the vertex here. It's like you're clicking the vertex here. So I will go to vertex sub-object level. As you can see now, you can see the vertices. Now, by the way, if you don't like to see this selection bracket here, if they are standing in the way, you can press the J on the keyboard, J like Jason, like this, and they disappear. So these are vertices. You can select them. I can select one, I control to select both, and then with the move tool I can move them around. I can okay, now in the vertex you'll see here edit vertices. These are a bunch of tools to manipulate, to modify the vertices. Now I will not go through everything, it's a waste of time, it's boring. We will learn the tools while we are doing some exercises, but I think it's better if we just learn some few of these tools, so it will make it easier for you to, you know, try things at your own, and you know, it will help you, you know, follow the tutorials uh, easily, more easily. I'm going to try few of the tools here related to the vertices. One of them, for example, if I select this vertex and this vertex, I click Control to add the selection. Now both are selected. I can choose Connect, and as you can see, these two vertices are now connected with an edge. Now I have two polygons here and here. So if I go to polygon sub-object level, as you can see, I have two polygons. Here I have one, here I have two. I will undo the operation. What we can do also, I will go back to vertex. If I choose, let's say I will select this one. I will choose Extrude. Now here, some tools here, you see that there is a big button and small button. The big button lets you change things with your mouse. The settings button lets you change things numerically. Also, it has some additional features. uh, I will click the settings button. As you can see, there is a default values here. The first value is height, 10 centimeters. This pushes the vertex 10 centimeters. Now you may ask why it's going in this direction, not up. Well, for now, just know that if imagine there is a perpendicular line going out from this polygon and one that is going perpendicular to this polygon up, and one is going from this polygon in this direction. If you average those three directions, one is pushing this way, one is pushing in this way, and one is pushing this way, you will end up with something like this. Now, you can manipulate the height. You can make it also negative by it will sink inside. This one determines the base width. Now what this does, what this setting does, it will trim this segment by a certain amount that you see here. Also this segment, it will be trimmed, and this one, and new polygons will be created. New triangles will be created that will keep this original vertex connected to the parent object. Okay, I will choose cancel. Now another another settings, chamfer. Chamfer, it will simply trim the edges by this amount, 1 centimeter. That means this edge that was here, it was trimmed 1 centimeter, and this one 1 centimeter. Now it's more, and the gap between them is filled with this triangle, with this polygon. Now there is an option here to make it an open chamfer. That means if I click it, it will be empty. There will be no polygon. Now I can see inside the box. One last thing. Target weld. If I click target weld, if I click on, I will click on this vertex. It doesn't have to be selected, by the way. I will click on it. Now release the mouse button, just move it to another vertex, but in one condition: the other vertex must share this the same must share an edge with this vertex. I cannot use this tool, for example, between this one and this one, because there is no direct edge between them. So I will move my mouse, and when I'm here, you can see the mouse changes, and when I click, this vertex jumps to this location, but it's not just moving here. Both now they are welded together. That means we don't have two vertices here. We have only one now. So if I go to move, if I deselect, if I just click, I have one vertex. Now you might wonder something now. And in the first video I said that a polygon cannot be bent, and maybe probably you're seeing here something strange, that it's like one polygon, but there is something important you have to understand, that under the hood everything in Max is made of triangles. So the smallest unit in Max is a triangle. So a face like this with 4 edges is made of 2 triangles under the hood. And I have a video that tells you, that teaches you how to see the hidden edge of uh, these 2 triangles, and how to make this hidden edge visible and usable like a normal edge. You can check that video if you like. So basically, this is okay. I will Control Z, undo this. Also, I have a setting here for Weld. If I choose 2 vertices, for example, if I click the setting button here, if the distance between those two is less or equal than this amount, they both will snap together and meet in the middle and also be welded. So for example, now nothing happens because it's 0.1 centimeter, but if I start to increase while they are selected, increase the amount, at some point, now for example, I will lower, they are still, as you can see, they snap and they are welded. Now they are only one, we have only one vertex. Undo. Okay, now these, like I said, these tools are for vertices. Now in edit geometry there are some set of tools that you will see them the same. You see them, you know, you see the identical set of tools here in the edit geometry in the other sub-object levels. You will see the same. But here these tools are for vertices only. But here they are, you can see, you will find them in the other sub-object levels, and they are meant to do the same thing. But for now, let's skip this thing and let's go to edge sub-object level. I can click here or here. Now in edge, I can select the edges. Select them also. I can move the edges. Undo. Also here, I can do extrude. Also with the mouse, like this. If I click the extrude and I move the mouse, as you can see, the mouse changes. So I can click and drag. I will undo and click the settings button so I can control it numerically. Here also I have the height. It's like in Vertex, we saw this in Vertex. So this is the height, and this is the base width. In chamfer also, what chamfer does, it will trim this polygon, this top polygon, in this direction by this amount, by 1 centimeter. It will trim this polygon down with by 1 centimeter, and they are connected with a newly created polygon here. Now I'm increasing the chamfer. Now, if I want this transition between both to be with more than one polygon, I can increase this value here. As you can see now, I have two, so I'm starting to have some rounding. If I make them 3, 4, 5, 6, I will end up with a rounded edge. Also, I have this option here to make it an open chamfer. That means there will be no polygons. I will undo. Okay, let's talk about connect. If I select this edge and this edge, and remember that these two edges must share the same polygon. If there is an edge going from here to here, that means if I have two polygons with an edge here, this tool connect will not work. So what this tool does, I will click the settings button. If I click connect, the default value will be used, or the value that or the last value that I used here in settings. But I will open the settings. As you can see now, by default there is a value of 1. That means those two segments will be connected with one segment. Max will check where is the middle of each segment and create a segment between them. So now I have two polygons here. I can increase the number of segments. Now I have 3 polygons with the same size. I can make them 4, 5, 6. Here I have this option that spread those segments outward or inward. I'll make them 0 again to make them equal. And I have this setting here. It's called slide. It will slide all the segments in one way or another. Okay, I'll make it 0 again. Now these two are selected, still selected. Here there is an interesting option also. There are many interesting features here, but I will not go through all of them. It's better to learn them by doing some exercises, or you can just try them out by yourself if you don't like to wait, which is also a good idea. Here I can create, if I click this one, I have the chance to create a copy from these two edges as separate objects, as separate lines. I will choose linear. Well, in this case, smooth will not make any difference, but I will show you what I mean. I will choose 4 edges. I'll click on control, so now I select 4 edges. Create shapes. If I choose smooth, as you can see, it created, instead of respecting the same shape, Max created a smooth curvy shape. I will undo this. I will click on create shape again. I will choose linear. I give it a name. Let's say upper edge. Let's say. Click OK. Now I cannot select this newly created object because I'm still in the box sub-object level. To be able to select another object, I need to get out from the sub-object level by clicking on the sub-object level itself, or clicking on the object itself here. So now I'm in the object level, so this way I can select another object which is this one, the upper edge. I will right click and hide unselected. Now I have this spline object. So I will delete it and hide all. So now I will skip the border for now. I will show you what this does, but here polygon is the face, so I can choose this polygon, can move it, rotate it, or delete it. Control Z. Before continuing to the polygons tools, I will show you what the border means. I will delete. Before deleting, I will go to border, and as you can see, if I move the mouse, you see that the mouse doesn't change to the select mode. That means there is nothing to select. So I will go to polygon and I will delete this selected polygon. Now if I go to border again, if I move the mouse, as you can see, the mouse changes to select mode. That means there is something I can select now. So if I click, the whole loop of edges is selected. These edges are called naked edges because they don't have a polygon, empty. So what I can do, there are also in edit border there are things like extrude and chamfer. I will just show you this tool here. It's called cap. If I click it, a polygon is created. So I will go to polygon, I will select the polygon. First let's talk about extrude. I can click the extrude and do an extrude with the mouse, or I can click the settings. What extrude does, it will take the selected polygon and pushes it perpendicularly by this amount, and to keep it attached to the main object, new polygons are created. So now I have 4 new polygons. So extrude is not like move. I will undo move. You just move the face, but with extrude the face is like it's pushed, and the distance between the polygon and the main object is filled with new polygons. Now if I click the plus sign, if I click OK, I will accept this result and close the dialog. But let's say I want to continue this operation of extruding. I can click this plus. You will see this in other tools, and it works the same in the same logic. If I click plus, it's like I'm accepting this result, this 10 centimeter extrusion, and I will click it now. As you can see, okay, I accepted this result here, and I started a new extrusion with the same amount. Now I can change this amount here. I can choose scale and put my mouse in the middle so I can scale in all directions. I can click the plus sign so I can accept the scale, this amount of scaling, and start a new scale. I can scale up, accept, and then okay. Okay, now the inset tool, what the inset tool does, it takes the selected polygon and it does a sort of offset. I will show you. I will the same thing. I can click here and do it by with the mouse. I will try it now. I will click inset, and as you can see, undo. I will click the setting button. Uh, what the inset does, it offsets the selected face inward, and the result will be an offset, and to keep this polygon attached to the main object, new polygons are created here. So I can also click the plus, so I accept this offset, this inset, then the newly created polygon is also now, I'm doing an inset on it, so I can change this second inset to make it less big. So if I click the plus, I will accept this one, and then this one will be inset again like this. So I will click OK. I can take this one and click extrude, and instead of extrude to the outside, I can extrude to the inside. Click OK. I can click inset again. OK, and then click extrude and do an extrude for the outside. Now, bevel. Bevel is a combination. You can think of it as a combination of okay, maybe before talking about bevel, let's talk about outline. I will select this one. The outline, it's like a scale. So I will undo this. Now bevel, it's a like combination of extrude and outline at the same time in one operation. So I will select, okay, this is selected, so I will click the setting button. As you can see, I have two parameters. One for height, it's like an extrusion, same as extrude. And this is the outline at the same time. Now if I click the plus sign, I will accept this, and then this one will be beveled again with the same amount. I will click plus. Now let's say in this one I don't want it to be like the same amount like this one, so I can change the outline and maybe make the extrusion shorter. I can even make the extrusion 0, and I can only play with the two faces are overlapping here, so just push it a little bit. So I will accept it. I will plus. Okay, but this one I want the outline to be 0 to make the extrusion straight. Plus, shorter maybe. Yeah. Uh, one last thing, hinge from edge. I will I will show you how it works and you will understand it. I will click this button here. This I'm going to choose a hinge, an edge. That means an edge. I will click this one. Oh, sorry. I need to select the polygon first, of course. I forgot this one. I will okay. I will select the edge, and what this does, it considers this edge as like an axis of rotation. And also this will create new polygons. Now, as you can see here, this value 1 means that the this polygon, this rotation uh, is happening, and only one polygon is created attaching this polygon with the parent object. So if I choose a transition by more than one segment, this is what happens. I will make it 90. So as you can see, this rotation around this X is happening by 14 sorry, by 14 polygons, making it rounded. We click OK. I can go to inset and make an inset, an offset. Okay, then maybe I will make an extrusion inward. Yeah. This is well, there are many other tools we didn't speak about. I will leave that for other sessions, but maybe let's one last thing. Maybe I will create a box, or maybe let's create something else. Let's to change from always creating boxes. I'm gonna create a cylinder. Click and drag. Then let's say this one is selected now. I want to make this cylinder part of this object. So while this is selected, I can click the attach, then click this one. So now these are one object. Now I didn't talk about element. Oh, if I click on element, if I just click on this one, all the polygons are selected. If I click here, all the polygons are selected. So both belong to the same object, but they are two different elements because both they have different independent sets of vertices. I will show you what I mean. Let's say here I want this polygon to be an element. So what I can do, I can go to polygon, select this polygon that I want to make it an element, and I will choose here in edit geometry, I will click detach. I will choose detach to element. That means if I detach it like this, this polygon will be removed from this object and it will be a separate object, but I don't want it to be a separate object. I want it to remain in this object, but it should I want it to be a separate element. So I will click detach to element, click OK. Now if I go to element, if I choose object, as you can see all polygons are selected except this one. Now something happened under the hood that makes this one not part, I mean that makes this polygon a separate element. When I clicked the detach as element button, what happens that this Max created 4 vertices for this face. Different. I'm gonna go to vertex and I will show you what I mean. Here now you see 4 vertices, but in fact now here we have 8 vertices. When Max created a separate set of vertices, 4 vertices for this face. So this face now has its own set of vertices. So I will click here and I will show you what I mean. As you can see, there is 2 vertices here. So this polygon has its own vertices. Before clicking the detach, before detaching as element, here we had only 1 vertex. Same thing here and here and here. So I will undo. So I hope this will make you understand the element thing. As I said, there are things that we will learn about in different exercises. So now let's jump into the exercise. I will go to File, Reset. Don't want to save. Yes, I want to reset. Now let's try to create a basic drawer like this one. Okay, let's create a box. I like to center my objects on the middle, so I will go to move, right click. It's a personal preference. I will right click here. Now it's in the middle. Okay, for the length, that means on the y-axis, I will make it maybe 30 centimeter. As in the width, I will make it 100 centimeter. I think it's less than this. Let's make it 80. And height, maybe I will make it say 50 or maybe 40 is enough. I will call it drawer. Always try to name your objects, because when you press the H button to select by name, if you have like hundreds or thousands of objects, you can search here with in the search area, so you can find your objects easily. For example, now I can press the D, but here I have only one object. But let's say if I have like a cylinder, another cylinder, another cylinder. If I press okay, and the sphere, let's say sphere. If I press the H, if I press S, for example, I will see only the spheres. I can continue the other letter. Some objects, they have like same letters at the beginning. So anyway, you can use this search box here. If I press B for I don't have anything in B, D, drawer, so I can select it and select. So delete all those. So now if I look here, I see that as a general rule, start to with the big things in your objects, not the small details. Now, this object is divided into two holes. We will create those holes, then we will add those shelves, and then the drawer, those small drawers, the openings. So I will select the object, right click, convert to Editable Poly. I will click edge, select the top edge, control, select the bottom edge. I will go to connect. One is enough. What I can do now, I can well, there is more than one approach. What I can do now is I can go to Polygon sub-object level. I can select those two. I go to inset. Now, as you can see, we already learned about inset, but now in this case, I selected two polygons. They are neighboring polygons. So by default, it is set to group. Now what that means, Max will try to keep those neighboring polygons, keep them together, and only do the inset from the outside. But in my case, I want to create thickness and thickness here. So I want the inset to happen on each polygon separately. So I go here and choose by polygon. So the inset now happens separately, independently. So I will choose 1 centimeter. I think it's good enough. So I will click OK. Then I will do negative extrusion. We did this depth, I think 30 centimeters. So if let's make it -29. I will press the L button to look in the left viewport. Yes, then press the P to go back to perspective. So now I will click OK, deselect. Let's change the color to something like wood a little bit. Okay, now I will create the first shelf here. Now there's one way to do that, but I will go to from sub-object level, go to create box. I will click on snap, make sure right click, vertex snap is on. I will start from this vertex here, click and drag, then move up. Now if you still have the snap, it will be annoying for you when you're doing the creation of it. Just press the S button and just you make it on only when you want it. So I will click, right click, go modify panel, then as a height I will make it 1 centimeter. Now there is more than one way to center this box with the with here, no, with the center of this main body. One of the tools, select, keep this object selected, go here to align now and choose a target, this object. Now here and on this side is said current object, that means this object, and target, that means this big object. Now I want the geometric center of this object here, center, that means the geometric center, to be aligned with the geometric center of this big object only on the Z position. So I will deselect both of these sorry, and click the Z position. No, sorry, and click OK. I will give it the same color. Now for this one I will also go to create box, select, press S to activate the snap. I will click and drag, then make it 1. Also align. You will see this the previous settings. I will click OK. Now I will try to imagine the distance from here to, let's say it's, I don't know, maybe 5 centimeters or 7 centimeters. I will right click the move and offset it in the Z direction by, let's say, 5. Okay, maybe it's good. So I will close, also change the color. I also want to change the name, instead of box 01 to shelf. I will select it, Control C, then click this one, Control V, and press 2, shelf 2. Okay, now I have 3 objects now. I will select them all, go to group, and group them together. Call it drawer set. This way I can just click on any object and the whole group is selected, so I can easily move it around or hide it or whatever. And like we said before, when you see this bold letters, that means you are selecting a set, a group, sorry. Okay, now let's okay, first I want to save my work. It's always a good practice to save your work. Okay, now for the legs. Now for the legs, Okay, I'm going to hide this object for now. Going to create. I will choose cone. A cone is like a cylinder with two radiuses. So you can click and drag, then release the mouse button, move up, click, and then you can set another radius. Now this object has a smaller radius at the bottom, so radius 1 is the bottom radius, so I will make it maybe 1.2 centimeter. And the upper one, I will make it maybe 2.4 centimeter, and the height maybe 20. I don't know if, yeah, maybe. Now, this object has a depth of 30 centimeters, so I'm going to select this object, right click, clone. I will choose instance because this way if I want to change some parameter in one of the legs, the four legs will change as well. So I will keep the setting to instance, click OK. Now I have another one at the same place. I will right click and move it. If this object is if the main object is 30 centimeter depth and this is 2.4 here, 4, okay, 4.4 as a radius. So let's say I'm gonna push it 20 centimeter. I will unhide first just to see if this makes sense. But anyway, if something wrong, we can change it after. So now I will select both, right click, clone. Okay, instance again. Now I have two additional copies. I will push it on the negative. I will offset it in the negative x by, let's say it's 1 meter, so I will minus 90, let's say. I don't know if this is good. I forgot how much the width, so there's a way to measure the distance, so I will go to create helpers, tape. Now I will activate the snap, so I will place my mouse here, then click and drag, then here, okay, it's 80 centimeter, so delete this, undo, undo, undo. So if it's 80 centimeter, I will make an offset, a negative offset, minus let's say 65. Now we can change that later. We can move them around if it's not if we need to. I will select the four legs. Now I forgot to name them. Now if you forget to name your objects, now I have four, so I don't want to name them one by one, so I go to tools, rename objects. So while they are selected, I can base name, we'll make it leg, then click numbered. Now each one will be called leg with a number, like leg 0, leg 1, leg 2. I will click rename, close, and now if I select this one, it's called leg 3, leg 03, leg 00, leg 01, and leg 02. Ctrl S, save. Now I will select them all and also create a group, call it legs, and give it like a dark color. Right click, unhide all, F3. Okay, now we gave the legs a height of 20. So I will select this main body, right click the move, and do an offset of 20 centimeter in the Z direction. Now I will select this group, use align, and choose this group. Now I will uncheck the Z. I want the geometric center of this group to be aligned with the geometric center of this body on the X and Y, like this. And I will do a Control S for saving. And I think this is enough for this tutorial. Hopefully in the next one we will learn how to add a texture, start to learn how to do mapping. We'll use the same file, and maybe we can do, before doing the texturing in the next video, some detailing, like rounding the legs a little bit from down to make it more realistic, and also I wanted to add these, but you can try it yourself. You already know, I think you already know how to do this by yourself, so it will be like a small exercise. And the video is becoming it's too long now, so so um, hope you like the video, and see you next time. Thank you for watching.